Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back for another day of this Poetic Justice series and the poem The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. Today is stanza 8. And, honestly, if you find these and you go through them in the full series, maybe later in the future you save them and you just scan, and if any one of the stanzas call, you let yourself explore it again, because these things spiral, these things open as we progress, and that's what I love about a contemplation practice. It really meets you wherever you are and allows you to tune in to your own self, to explore, to get inspiration, to really identify aspects within yourself that you, just simply witness and observe. And from that space, consciously choose. Otherwise, we're, mindlessly reenacting the past versus responding into the present to where we are today. Our constant, ever-evolving awareness, expression, embodiment. There's many aspects that play into our moment-to-moment experience, in this allowing ourselves to be more mindful and to tune in to these things. And as we identify the patterns and the habits and the behaviors, we also get to consciously choose versus reenacting from the past. And this is just something that naturally unfolds as you walk down the path of an awareness practice, a mindfulness awareness practice, a meditative practice, contemplation. There's so many ways. That's why I like to call it an awareness practice. So, stanza 8 is, I want to know if you can live with failure. Yours, mine, and still stand at the edge of a lake and shout to the silver of the full moon. Yes. Oh, there's so much in this. First of all, failure. One, is that ever easy to endure? There's definitely a spectrum there, right? Failing fast is one thing I've heard, and if to take that downward spiral, make it the path of least resistance is one that I like to lean into. But at the end of the day, this failure, right, this opportunity is a moment of learning, and again, conditioned so much on failure and going to school and having to make a certain grade and hold a certain standard on everything, that just sets us up for failure, right? We're individuals all having different gifts and talents, and even just having the, certain way that everyone must learn. And if you don't, then you fail. It's just, there's so much to unpack around the failure. What do we really, really consider a failure? And if we open that to an opportunity, is it just information? Is it just data to inform? And it's a new opportunity to try another way. And in my professional world, and one of the things that I've acquired through my various careers is this idea of a PDSA cycle. And honestly, plan, do, see, act. I don't know. That's what they're going to be for me right now. But idea that you can look at the opportunity and really just unfold with it. We're always kind of cycling in this learning space of what is serving the outcome and what is like working in resistance to. And resistance isn't bad. We just have to somehow define, right? So that resistance is the idea of bringing something into form. It must have a resistance in order to have a form. And so it's just simply looking at the facts of the circumstances, right? And what is serving, what is diminishing, that plus or minus, however, it's increasing or lessening. And that somehow, always, looks like a value to it, but that's the invitation. Here we are at the invitation. The invitation is to not put a value on it. And that is how we can stand with failure of our own and one another, right? We all contribute to something to another in so many various ways. And sometimes what's best for you might feel like it's not, because it's a change and it's going to change. It's going to impact something that maybe you've been afraid of. And can we soften around that? Can we have less fear with one another? Can we acknowledge when we are afraid? I'm afraid because, and I always ask, because, and so, because, and so, and just keep going until you hit to this common place of like peace. And you're like, you know what? That's how that all makes sense to me. And, the because explains something to ourselves, and the and so gives us that choice point. Okay, now that I know this, what does that mean to me? How does that impact me? How do I feel about it? Do I have clarity? And, anytime I feel like you're going to impact someone, having full clarity on what that is and is always a good invitation. And we don't always have that opportunity, right? Sometimes life just makes it happen, and that's the clue. Like, this doesn't unfold this way unless it's supposed to be this way. So let's take the information from the moment and let's be real. And then the last, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of a full moon. Yes. And I love the imagery of this, right? Like standing at the edge of a lake, the feminine waters, the waters that hold so much information, so healing too, right? And I don't know if any of you follow or know the Dr. Emoto story, but standing at the silver moon, the words, and shout, right? Shout to the silver of the full moon. So the full moon, the imagery that, like the fullness of the picture, right? You can stand at the edge of your own emotional waters. And if you can shout to the silver of the completeness of what you feel, and still say yes, like yes, that's full clarity, right? If you can continue to look at the full picture of it, failure of you, failure of another, all of the perspectives, and still stand at the edge, feel it fully, shouting your truth to this, full illuminated aspect of the present moment. Yes, I'm here in this. Yes, even in the failure. So that is the stanza today. And I hope it inspires something beautiful and something expansive, something informative, something enlightening. Whatever word is in resonance with you today, allow it to be so. And maybe it's a day that you want to just feel full of like the rawness of where you're at. We allow that spectrum, because anytime we disconnect or cut ourselves off from an aspect that is which of the whole, that doesn't help anyone, right? Our big toe has a purpose. Our thumb has, let's not disconnect from the aspects that are there, and instead see how we harmoniously live in union beyond what we may understand. And we don't necessarily need to. We just need to come to peace with the places, the spaces, the circumstances in which we find ourselves, and how we show up, how we radiate the essence of who we are, and we embody our truth in our presence and in our action, just in our presence. I love to explore the wholeness of the spectrum, and I hope this is an invitation along this series for you to do the same. So thank you, my friends, until